Hey everybody, Joe here with the 2025 LEGO House exclusive review. This is set number 40506, LEGO Fabuland Tribute. It's made up of 1026 pieces and measures over 26 centimeters high, 38 centimeters wide and 9 centimeters deep, and it is rated for ages 10 and up. This exclusive set can only be officially bought at the LEGO House in Billund, Denmark. And as the name suggests, it is a tribute to the iconic theme that started in 1979, which ran for over a decade. The theme had a bunch of named characters, each with their own personalities, and their stories were told through the instructions, comics, books, and even a television series. The set comes in a LEGO House Special Edition box that's branded a bit differently. The front of the box gives us a nice shot of the set in front of an illustration that matches the original theme very well. The Special Edition number 6 sits top right, as this is set number 6 in the LEGO House exclusive series, and we find that classic Fabuland logo bottom right. The back of the box features all of the previous LEGO House exclusive sets, along with some info about the history of Fabuland that also continues onto the side of the box. And at the top we get the 1:1 scale shot of the included illustrated sticker. But opening up the lid-styled box reveals 13 numbered paper bags in a variety of sizes, a clear plastic bag with large black plates, and a brown envelope that includes 6 instruction booklets, as well as a sticker sheet for one lonely sticker. The largest instruction booklet features quite a few pages up front that gives you tons of insight into Fabuland's history, the development process of the set, as well as some info on the LEGO House. And it even has an illustrated story at the bottom of the pages, which is a nice callback to the original instructions. And each of the 4 characters gets their own booklet, while the last one is for the tree. Another lovely touch is the introduction for each character at the beginning of their respective booklet. It took me just under 2 hours to build the set, and you start off by building the base. It's made up of all 6 black plates that are covered in lots of tiles, before building the grassy patch that's placed on top of it, which includes spots to connect each character and tree. After that, we move on to building the 4 figures that each takes 2 bags to complete. They all start with these green stands that connect them to the base, and while each character has their own color palette, the build of the bodies are exactly the same. It seems like quite a straightforward build, but the designer told us that it was one of the biggest challenges for him, but I do think he nailed it in the end. We do get some more building variety in the form of instruments and accessories that breaks up the repetition of the body builds a bit. Fortunately, each head is unique with loads of different building techniques. Edward's head features some clever shaping and part usage, while Clive has the simplest build, even though it's one of my favorites. Joe's head is probably the most intricate, where you build in all directions, something LEGO designers tend to avoid if possible. And finally we have Lucy's head that has a very weird but clever inner assembly. Once each figure is complete and attached to the base, we finish things off with a tree. And I made a mistake here because the very top plate should be offset to the left to resemble the asymmetry of the original tree. Something the designer actually made a point of in his presentation. But once you are done correctly building the set, you should end up with these extra pieces. Now, onto the set. The completed model makes for an odd but endearing display piece for anyone who grew up with these characters. And I have to say it, this also doubles up as an excellent unofficial Five Nights at Freddy's set. The 4 characters and the tree are mounted onto the base by way of pins, and that makes them sit very loosely on top of the base. The advantage of this setup is the fact that they can be rotated and arranged in any order you prefer. The base is absolutely massive and takes up quite a bit of the piece count. I do like the double layering of the green over the black tiled base, but I'm not too sold on the studded border. The black section feels a bit big, but it does accentuate the colorful set on top of it, and I like the addition of the 2 printed tiles at the front. As I've mentioned, each figure can be removed very easily to be displayed separately on their respective green mounds. Because each body is exactly the same, I just want to quickly show how the head, arms and legs attach to the body. We have click hinges on the hips, bar and clips on the shoulders, and a small ball joint for the neck. I know that these simple connections took a lot of time to solve, and I'm quite happy with the final result. Now moving on to the figures, starting with Edward Elephant, sporting grey legs and a red torso. His head does feel a bit smaller compared to the rest of the figures. His hinged ears are nicely done, but I feel like his trunk is a bit too small. He can be seen holding a yellow composer baton, as well as this large white book with a beautifully illustrated cover featuring the 4 characters in front of the LEGO house. It is a pity that this is not a print because it is such a beautiful piece. Next we have Clive Crocodile sporting my favorite color palette of black and lime. The overall shaping of his head is very good, and I appreciate how his scales were recreated. And it's also nice to get those 2 fang pieces in lime green. And Clive gets a blue accordion for an accessory. It is a curious looking build, but it works well enough. Our third character in the lineup is Joe Crow. And let's just pretend he's wearing a black sweater over his yellow legs. I really like how his red flying helmet was recreated, even if it's not as round as the original, for obvious reasons. His beak is also great and slots in firmly underneath those piercing eyes. I also like how the Fabuland drum has been recreated here, and it is nice how it attaches to the torso by way of studs. And he also has 2 large drumsticks topped off with minifigure heads. The designer actually wanted to use baby minifigure heads over here, but apparently the governance department at LEGO shot that idea down. And finally we have Dr. Lucy Lamb wearing a yellow outfit over a white body. Her face just looks the weirdest to me, and I think it's because of that black slope piece for a nose. And personally, I never like these pieces used for a lower jaw because they never sit quite right to me. I do appreciate her textured woolly head though, and the Technic balls on the tips of her ears does a great job to soften those ears. Her accessory is a massive yellow tuba that is an excellent brick build recreation of the original piece. And one very nice thing is how every instrument is compatible with each character. And the bit of scenery we get is in the form of this flat tree that does a great job at capturing the original design. Building mistakes aside, I do appreciate the extra attention to detail made by the designer to have the tree be asymmetrical, and the 7 holes in the middle is nicely rounded off by those tiled pieces. For such a flat design, the tree is surprisingly sturdy, and I for one am happy with its inclusion. So I think this is a perfect set for the LEGO House exclusive range. It's niche and it might not appeal to a mass audience, but for the LEGO fans who grew up with this theme, it hits us with those warm fuzzy feelings. It's a tribute that was clearly designed by people who care a lot, and while I find the base a bit much and the sticker illustration unfortunate, it's definitely one of the better exclusive sets in my opinion. Anyways, let me know what you think of the set, and please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you like this review and what we do. And as always, thanks for watching.